Welcome to a new fantasy adventure on Dreamscape. In this atmospheric story, the farmer Coran desperately struggles against a harsh winter that plunges his family into the greatest hardship. But in the darkest hour, a stranger unexpectedly appears who brings back hope with a selfless act. The biggest gesture you can give me is a like. If you like my stories, feel free to leave a subscription and activate the bell so you don't miss any more stories. Well then, let's dive into the story. Coran's hard fight against winter. The icy wind whistled across the barren fields of Dornhold as farmer Coran wearily closed the door of his modest hut behind him. Winter had come early and hard to the remote mountain village. Snow already lay on the fallow fields that Coran and his family cultivated. The farmer looked anxiously at the sky. More snowstorms were on the horizon. If the snow destroyed the crops, he wouldn't know how to get his wife and children through the winter. The meager supplies in the pantry would not be enough. His thoughts were interrupted when his wife Maureen stepped out of the hut.
"You look so worried, my dear,"
she said. Coran sighed.
"Winter is hard. If we lose the crops, we'll starve."
Maureen nodded gravely.
"Have faith. We will find a way."
But secretly, she too shared Coran's concern. Their 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, were still small and needed food. But the situation was serious. Outside, dense snowflakes began to dance again. The next day, Coran hitched up his ox and drove to the field. But as feared, the snow had destroyed the meager stalks. Nothing could be saved. Desperate, Coran drove home again. How should it go on now? He tried not to show his fear in front of Maureen and the children, but inside he despaired. The simple but hard living he could offer the family as a farmer was gone in one fell swoop. The long winter would take them all unless help came. In the evening, the family sat around the sparse fire in the cabin. Outside, the storm howled and made the hut shake. The children cried from hunger. Coran had tears in his eyes as he took Maureen in his arms. Was this their end after so many years of hard work to build an existence? There was a knock at the door, a strong, almost drowning thump. Coran opened it, trembling. Outside stood a tall man, wrapped in a fur cloak. His face was hidden under a hood.
"Let me in,"
he boomed in an overpowering voice. Intimidated, Coran stepped aside. The stranger entered the hut and flipped back the hood. He had kindly, bearded features that radiated confidence.
"Do not be afraid,"
he said calmly.
"My name is Baran. I come from the northern mountains. The harvest is not lost up there. I bring supplies for your hard winter."
From his bag he took bread, cheese, and dried fruit. Stunned, Coran and Maureen stared at the unexpected gift. Now they would survive the winter.
"How can we ever thank you?"
cried Maureen through her tears. Baran just smiled and put his hand on Coran's shoulder.
"You don't need to thank me. Just take good care of each other. The winter will pass."
With that, he turned to go. Outside, he reached into a saddlebag and pulled out medicine and ointments.
"For your children. Stay well."
Speechless, Coran and Maureen nodded.
"But who are you, good friend, to do such good?"
cried Maureen. Baran looked at her with his deep eyes.
"I am one who helps where I can."
Without another word he rode away. Stunned, Coran and Maureen looked after him. This stranger had come like an angel at the right time. Now they and the children would survive the winter. Hope returned to their hearts. In the hard weeks that followed, more snowstorms passed over the land. But in the small hut there was now warmth and sufficiency. Maureen cooked nourishing soups for the children with the supplies Baran had brought. Coran told them stories of distant lands in the evenings, distracting them from the cold and deprivation. Often they sat together by the fire and reminisced about earlier, better times, before the winter had destroyed everything. They spoke of the small joys of life that were worth fighting for, and they thought gratefully of the mysterious benefactor who had miraculously appeared. Some of the neighbors also came to Coran's hut in those dark winter days, hoping to find something edible for their starving families. With a heavy heart, Maureen shared with them from the donated supplies. In this way, they were all able to survive together. Every evening the family prayed for an end to winter and for the return of spring. They asked for strength and health to get through this difficult time. The hope of better days helped them through the cold. Finally, the winter subsided and the first tender shoots of spring sprouted. Coran tilled the fields, now hopeful that they would produce a bountiful harvest. The family had remained healthy. They had survived. From that day on, Coran and Maureen often told each other about Boran, the stranger who had brought supplies in their greatest need. And they promised each other to pass on his kindness if others were ever in such need as they were. Winter could come, they no longer feared it.